Hi there, my name is Rebecca Phillips and I'm the editor-in-chief of Best Health Magazine. We're here today to talk about pulmonary arterial hypertension, or PAH. It's a rare disease that affects the right side of the heart, and it causes the walls of the pulmonary arteries to become thick and stiff, narrowing the space for blood to flow and causing increased blood pressure to develop within the lungs. PAH is a progressive disease, and if it's left untreated, it can lead to heart failure. I'm pleased to be speaking today with Alison Wells, a 33-year-old teacher, a mother, and a Canadian who is living with PAH, and she's kindly made some time to share her experience today with us. So this will be an educational discussion to increase awareness of PAH and ideally encourage proactive discussions with a licensed healthcare professional to support quick diagnosis and optimal care if needed. In addition to this being an informative conversation, we're very honored to have a lot of personal insight from Alison today. So thank you for being with us here today, Alison. My first question for you is, when you learned that you have pulmonary arterial hypertension, what went through your mind?
At first, I just thought about all the things that it would change in my life, like all the changes that I would have to deal with, and not knowing a lot about like treatment options and medical jargon that I would have to learn. So at first it was a big learning curve. Of course, with any illness that you're diagnosed with, and just thinking about life expectancy and things like that. So it was scary for a while, and it's still scary, but now that I know more about it, I have a better outlook on what my future will hold.
Right. I think that initial diagnosis, you've really nailed it there. It's just a lot of information coming at you all at once, right? It's hard to process what it really means for your life. So there's a lot of information on our website about symptoms, but maybe you can talk about this, being in the place you are today and looking back. What symptoms of PAH did you have prior to your diagnosis that you can kind of recognize now?
Probably the first symptom I noticed was dizziness and lightheadedness. Like whenever I would bend over and stand back up, I would be lightheaded all the time. I had shortness of breath, elevated heart rate, and I could feel my pulse all over my body, like if I lay still. So, I couldn't walk up any stairs without being out of breath, and I was just extremely, extremely tired all the time.
And you have young children too, so it's a lot of bending over.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
And can you sort of walk me through the story of how you were finally diagnosed with PAH?
So I started recognizing, that something was wrong in November, December of 2016. And it took from that time until May of the next year to be given a diagnosis from a professional. I did kind of do my own research, and that was one of the things that I Dr. Google told me about, but which they tell you not to do. But I noticed symptoms, but kind of just played it off as it's been a long fall, hadn't been exercising, just needed to get back in shape, and not really wanting to accept that there was something seriously wrong. So after a few months, I did go to my family doctor, and I was tested for an array of things, asthma and allergies, and even kidney disease, and nothing showed up. So I did ask about pulmonary hypertension and was kind of shot down. Didn't think that was it. Had to fight a bit to get the right
age. Sorry to interrupt. Was that because of age or what?
I'm not really sure, because after learning what I know now, the age was kind of spot on for diagnosis for pulmonary hypertension. But I think it's because it is a rare disease. Maybe some GPs just aren't really well versed in it. So I just kind of chalked it up to that. But I did end up in the emergency room in May of 2017 after passing out at work. And that's when I was finally given like the chest x-ray, EKG, and that emergency room doctor actually mentioned pulmonary hypertension for the first time.
Okay. Yeah. And what did the next sort of period of time look like that after you were released from hospital? What can you tell me about sort of like adjusting to that new reality with this diagnosis?
So I spent a month in hospital waiting to see specialists, waiting for tests, being given like, a treatment plan. And once I was on oral medications and was released, things kind of returned to normal. It was summer, so I wasn't working. I'm a teacher, so I had a buffer time, to kind of get my feet back underneath me before work started again. And just took things slow and tried to figure out like what my body was capable of now after this diagnosis.
Now that you've been living with it for several years, can you talk to me about like what a typical day is for you living with this condition?
One thing for me that I really strive to make sure is that I'm like super organized, and that might sound like, well, what does that have to do with anything? But when I'm organized, when everything is laid out, I'm not rushing around. I leave myself plenty of time to like get out the door in the mornings, get my little girl strapped into her car seat, those type of things. It's those little things, like if I have to rush, that I find makes me short of breath. So like if I'm super organized and, getting up when that alarm goes off and not hitting the snooze button 2 or 3 times, I find my day can start better. And I'm not like short of breath before I even get to work. Other than that, I just kind of know my limitations. Like, I'm aware if there's stairs I'm going to have to go up. Or like, if there's going to be something physical that I have to do, that I'll kind of, if I have to do something physical, then the rest of the day I kind of have to take it slow. So just knowing my limitations and taking breaks when I need to.
Right. And I'm sure, as you said, sort of being very aware of your body and what changes and responses mean and what you have to do to respond to them.
Yeah.
Right. So as we mentioned, your mother and you're a school teacher, busy life. How do you juggle all those things and prioritize the care you need? I mean, you mentioned this a little bit, like being organized is really important to you. What are some other tips you might have for people who are, with, any condition really, but this particular condition, how you sort of fit it into your life?
I have a great support system. Like, my husband, he carries all the laundry up the stairs for me. My parents are really supportive. So like, if I need some time to rest, like they'll step in and take care of my little girl and things like that. So when my husband, he works away, on a turnaround. So when he's gone, like there's always someone that'll step in to take it to garbage or mow the lawn or do this, like shovel snow. Like, there's always someone who will make sure those things are done for me so I don't have to do it.
Right.
So it's important to have a support system and people who are there to help you and then to like let yourself ask for help.
Right. I think that's the really key point there is never to hesitate to speak up for what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you look incredibly healthy. So can you maybe share, maybe misconceptions or stereotypes that you experience living with an invisible but progressive and rare disease?
probably the biggest thing that I feel, and like is probably more on my part than it's other people's part. Like I hate to think that people think like, oh, she's taking the elevator, she must be in shape. Like she's too lazy to take the stairs. Like those kind of stereotypes. So sometimes like I find myself making excuses or try to like rationalize why I'm doing that. Because to look at me, you would never know that I have a disease. So a lot of people, even coworkers and even like acquaintances, often don't know. So sometimes I share it, sometimes I don't. I just pretend like, they're not. No, they're not. They're probably not thinking it. I'm thinking that they're thinking it.
That's right.
Yeah.
The things that happen in our own minds, right?
Yeah. So I just kind of got to let it go and do what I need to do for myself.
Allison, can you tell me, how do you view your future?
I try to stay positive. I have, like I said, I have a great support system. I have good family and friends, and I rely on my faith a lot. I don't really think about, the what could be or like the negative side of things. I mean, I know it's reality, but I just try to take it one day at a time and enjoy the days as they come and make memories with my family whenever I can.
And sort of my last question for you is, if there's sort of one takeaway you would like Canadians to know about PAH, or one thing that you would like to leave with people, what would that be?
PAH is a scary diagnosis. There is no cure, so having the right treatment plan and having access to specialists is really important. My biggest piece of advice would be to advocate for yourself, because sometimes you know your body better than the doctors might think they do, even though I'm sure most try their best. But like I said earlier, it is a rare condition, so it is quite often misdiagnosed. So it's important to be your own advocate. And if you do find yourself with a diagnosis such as this or any other progressive disease, to make sure you have a good support system. I've found a lot of other patients of PAH online, and having that support system really is important.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I think for our viewers, it's really enlightening and important to hear from somebody what it's like living with a condition like this. And I want to wish you the best of luck and thank you for your time with Best Health.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.